Today it's roast beef, but proper roast beef. I promise you, you haven't seen roast beef like this before. Roast beef and England, this is the big one. When you're eating a bit of great British beef, you're not just eating great meat, you're biting into history, into culture. I want to know that the beef I'm eating is as good as it can possibly be. That's why I always look for the Red Tractor logo. What we think of as roast beef in Britain is actually baked beef when you think about it. Roast beef actually means spit roast, which gives me an excuse to show you my favourite toy. This is a French rotisserie barbecue, and traditionally that's how beef was cooked in Britain. There'd be a small boy turning the spit. It is the best way to cook actually anything. This is an enormous chunk of top side. It's going to be absolutely delicious. I'm going to attempt to roast the whole thing. It's quite big. Yeah, it's going to work. Every time I use this device, I think it's going to break, this time included. It's a mesmerising thing. It's kind of a shame that we hide stuff in ovens. In days gone by, cooking was the centrepiece of the whole kitchen. It was kind of what we stared at before we stared at television. To watch it turn gently and gradually crisp up, the smell draws you in. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm going to cook a bit of celeriac. It's quite easy to get hold of. It's kind of like a tasty potato. And I go for some real thin slices, get it nice and crispy. Thinner the better. A joint like this, where it's sort of slightly thinner at one end than the other, you know, that bit's going to be more well done. This bit's going to be pinker in the middle. We'll hit it with a bit of salt, maybe, as it's going round. I wish you could smell this. It's sensational. It doesn't get any better than that. This fat that's dripping off is a really precious resource. It's going to tie in the flavour of the celeriac to the flavour of the beef. And I might actually use it for the Yorkshire puddings, which we'll tackle next. If you just roast your beef on top of your vegetables, you can do that in an ordinary oven. Very, very simple. But if you need more details about any of these recipes, just check out the Red Tractor website, www.redtractor.org. And the great thing about Red Tractor beef is every pack is traceable right back to the farm where it came from, which could actually be here. Right, Yorkshire puddings. As we get bolder in the kitchen in Britain, more and more of us are trying to make things from scratch. 8 eggs, 500 mils of milk. I think a good mix is a decent purchase. Good pinch of salt. So this is actually turned into a foam now, and then just let it have a little rest before you put the flour in. But there's only 3 ingredients, really. Eggs, milk and flour. It's a really simple batter. If you put a bit more flour in, you get a denser Yorkshire pudding. If you put a bit less in, you get a really light, fluffy one. So I'll give this a bit of a whiz, and we'll see what the consistency looks like. So that's looking like a really nice batter now. You want double cream consistency. If it looks like that, you're in business. What you cook your Yorkshire puddings in is really important. You've got lots of options. What you want is a really good, dense fat. They're a birthright for every Brit. It's the taste of our true cuisine, and I think we really underrate them. You won't get fat from eating delicious Yorkshire puddings. You get fat from eating rubbish takeaways. So if you're giving it the beans, you want really good fat for your Yorkies. I've got a bit of lard here. I'm going to try a few things. There's some dripping off of the beef. There's some pork fat that I had left over in the fridge. And this stuff, Serrano ham fat. And that's actually a kind of cured, cultured fat. The most important thing is that you want your pans nice and hot. And I'm just going to go and grab them out of the oven, actually. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Look at that beef. It's amazing. So we've got a bit of lard in this one, dripping in that one. We have a bit of pork fat in here. Pour a bit in there. That's going to be good, I can tell already. Oh, yeah. So we've got Serrano ham fat, pork dripping, beef dripping. Job's good. There's all sorts of really interesting chemistry happening here. 90% of the flavour is in that crispy crust. By the time the Yorkies are done, we're going to be about there with the beef. So look at that, celeriac's done. Let's use that oil as a bit of dressing for the salad. That's going to be absolutely banging. Right, let's get him off. You're sort of cooking the watercress a bit with the fat and the beef. If we've got Yorkshire puddings, we're in business. A little bit of that on there. That's sort of lovely glaze. Oh, look at that, lovely. So the key with Yorkies is that you want to serve them straight out of the oven because they will collapse a little bit. That is just absolutely kicking it killer. That's quite well done there. That's kind of medium rare, and as you get up to the fatter end, that's going to be quite nice and pink in there. Roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, but that's proper roast beef, spit roast on a barbecue. Actually, forgot the finishing touch. Crisps. What's nice about that is that you've got like the sogginess of this watercress, which has been done in by the beef, and with the crispiness of the crisps. That is a mouthful. Oh my God. Should I tell everyone lunch is over here?